today to our annual commodity reports. We're looking forward to those, and appreciate you coming in here. And whoever sponsored the breakfast up this morning was really good. I got a call. There's still some stragglers coming in, so they might be detained for. But we want to get started anyway. So once again, welcome, and we'll take each commodity so many minutes until we get them all done. We have 4 presenters today. So right now, though, I will ask for bill introductions. Are there any bill introductions today? Seeing none, we'll move on. We'll begin on our commodity reports with Kent Moore, the Kansas Corn Commission. Kent, welcome to the committee.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Kind of always seems like corn goes towards the front. I think that has to do something with alphabetical order, seems like. But here we are. I think next year we might come here and identify a zucchini or something, so we go last instead of first. But again, very, very honored to be here and talk to you about the past year for the Kansas corn and what we've accomplished and what we have still in front of us. And my name, Kent Moore, farm in Pratt County, so south central part of the state, and am chair of the Kansas Corn Commission. In 2021, we harvested our 3rd largest corn crop ever. Great crop, really, really, really good crop, pretty much statewide. We had just a tremendous growing season. We harvested 751 million bushels. I think the tops we've ever done, just a hair over 800 million bushels. So super crop. The Kansas Corn Commission is working hard with our staff to continue to implement and execute the things that we think that will be a benefit to Kansas corn growers. One of the major things that we do in that regard is through our support of the U.S. Grains Council, U.S. Meat Export Federation. I don't think it's any lost idea that to a Kansas corn farmer that our first and foremost use for the crop in the state of Kansas is through livestock feed. We've always enjoyed a great relationship with that industry and understand that how things work and the synergy that's created through our providing that feedstock for Kansas livestock. And then here in the last 20 years, the incorporation of ethanol into that equation has just been another boon to the state of Kansas. And so I might highlight a little bit of what we do on a market development standpoint. As I said, we work a lot with U.S. Grains Council. Grains Council has staff throughout the world and in key markets for Kansas corn and other agricultural commodities. We fully participate in that and take advantage of every opportunity that we have to put Kansas corn and corn growers in general in the United States, try to put our best foot forward to those foreign market development that really is critical for maintaining and increasing the demand for our product both domestically and worldwide. One thing that I've had the opportunity to do here in the last few years, and part of it's probably COVID related, but a lot of the activity that U.S. Grains Council would support in the past would be having trade teams come from whatever country they happen to be part of. They'd come to the United States and tour around. Well, obviously with COVID, that has been more difficult to do, and I've had the opportunity to have a couple of virtual tours hosted on my farm. And like this past spring, had staff from Kansas Corn come while I was planting a circle of irrigated corn. They were able to bring the media equipment to produce a pretty high quality explainer and tutorial of what I was doing that day and how I was doing it and why I was doing it, what I expected to the input and the output of that day's work. And so we got that prepared, and then at some point there, about a month later, so we had a virtual meeting of basically prospective buyers and people interested in the import of our corn to their country, with primarily Asian countries. And it was interesting from the standpoint of here I was involved in the office in Pratt County, Kansas, and had participants, probably close to 80 to 90 participants on that call. Another interesting thing about that call was the number of languages that that presentation and my presentation was being translated into at the time. So it's just really a truly amazing experience to be a part of that process and allow those end users an opportunity to have a little bit of a glimpse into what I do and how I do it, and how that Kansas corn, and I know the other commodity groups have done it also, of how we can be a participant and to help spread the use of our commodities throughout the world. One thing that the Corn Commission that recognized a few years ago was the need to continue and improve upon our outreach into our educational system in the state of Kansas. So we dedicated a lot of resources to try to reach students, and I don't care whether if that student's in a rural community or an urban community. We felt like there was a real need, and it would be a real benefit for us to be able to give our message to that population of kids, and I think we've been very, very successful in doing that. Last year, we reached about 55,000 students through hands-on learning experiences. What our program does is provide those STEM teachers, those science teachers. It provides them every instrument and lesson plan that they'll need to execute that lesson plan for that day. And it's been really, really well received because we provide everything that they'll need, period. They don't have to look anywhere else for it. And we've been very, very pleased with the impact that we're having there. We've got a great relationship now started with USD 259 in Wichita, and really excited about the future as we try to have those students see the importance of agriculture in the state of Kansas. Of course, we keep involved with research through K-State and KU and Pitt State primarily, meeting with faculty and staff of those institutions and deciding how some of those commission dollars can be put to use to do things that will be a benefit to Kansas corn growers. One other thing I might mention, obviously the Kansas Corn Commission's been very interested in ethanol market development. One thing that we're doing this year is we're partnering with the Nebraska and Missouri commissions to provide some funding to fuel stations and infrastructure in California. You know, obviously California is one of our major markets for ethanol in this region of the United States. It's a huge growth opportunity out there. You know, we hear a lot about EVs and electric vehicles coming quickly, but at the same time, I think everybody that once they take a step back from it realizes that goal, while it is a goal, it's down the road a ways, and there's going to be tremendous opportunity for ethanol to be placed in markets that will have a high demand. So we're excited about the opportunity we have in that. I might highlight to end up where we were on the checkoff this year. Obviously, most of you know, first point of sale, it's a 1 cent checkoff that comes into the commission, and then we decide how to spend those dollars. Last year, our refund rate was 7.3%. That's pretty low historically. I think that part of that is a recognition from Kansas corn growers that recognize that investment of their penny at that first point of sale is a good investment, and they see some return to that investment in the commission. Obviously, we've got some challenges ahead of us for 2022 as corn growers. First and foremost, probably being input cost. I think everybody's aware of what that landscape is for 2022. The cost per unit of nitrogen this year compared to last year's, and on my farms going to be from anywhere from 2 to 2.5 times what I spent a year ago. So, you wrap up $1,000 an acre pretty quick in an irrigated acre of corn. So that means tighter margins, more market risk. But I would say this, I think that Kansas farmers are always up to the challenge. It's not always easy. We've been blessed for the past 3 years with some great crops. Obviously, the whole state of Kansas at this point needs for the most part, needs some type of moisture. I know we definitely need it anywhere from here west. and hopefully that comes sooner or later. But if you're going to have a drought, this is a great time of the year to have it. But with that, I would open it up to any questions you might have, or you may have all the commission people do their thing and then have questions after that. But thank you.
You can. That's what we're going to do.
Okay.
Time-wise, I want everybody to get the report in.
Sure.
At the end, we'll ask questions.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next presenter is Kevin Kniebel from the Kansas Grain Sorghum Commission. Kevin, welcome to the committee.
Good morning, and thank you for letting me be here. I'm Kevin Kniebel from White City, Kansas, south of Junction City. That's where I farm and call my home. I represent District 8 in eastern Kansas for the Kansas Sorghum Commission. Joining me today is Jesse McCurry and Adam York, their staff that were gracious enough to come along, and if I get stumped on any question, they offered to maybe help or throw me under the bus. To start, let me say that sorghum in Kansas has had a very meaningful year. We've seen a change in leadership in the commission. Stephen Biggie from Stockton has passed the gavel down after 6 years of service, and we thank Stephen for leading the commission under extremely challenging budgetary cycles, and I know you guys have dealt with that, and hopefully, like you folks have last year, you came up with a little bit of extra money to either set aside and save for a rainy day, or invest further, or cut costs, give people some needed benefit. But with that being said, though, the sorghum industry today has an increasing footprint in our region, more acres that that help us, and some of that comes because of our management of our investments, market demand, obviously, and increased profit opportunities for the producers. Building on that, the sorghum crops momentum last year increased, and this year it increased again. We've had a 14% production increase and 20% acreage increase, and you might ask, why does that not all coincide the same, the 14 and the 20? Well, some of those acres were because grain sorghum was probably produced on marginal acres, maybe on poor ground, et cetera. But we do have an increased production. One of the largest value sorghum crops in our nation's history. And so that's a good thing. So our budget for fiscal year 2022 is around $1 million. And we're funded by the United Sorghum Checkoff Program. We contributed about a little over $6 million to that program. and which is 55% of the funds that, or 66% of the funds that was assessed. That the assessment rate's 0.6% of the value of the crop. So since we contribute that money to the United Sorghum Checkoff, we have a board with Kansas farmers being part of that board that manages that fund, and we get a pass back from that, and that's how our commission is funded. That's how we get our operating capital. Some of those folks, you know, you may have constituents that are part of that. There's a Jeffrey Zortman, he's a treasurer from Fowler, Kansas. Kendall Hodgson from Little River, Kansas. Shane Supas from Scott City. Macy Mueller from Halstead. And Kim Baldwin for Inman. So you see that there's a lot of parts of the state representative on that board. We continue to have primary investments with Kansas State University, and Kansas State or K-State houses the Center for Sorghum Improvement, and that's where a lot of our research and development funds go. And in saying that, we work at, I'm also on the board of that entity, and we work at leveraging funds. So we get partners in projects, and so our funds go a lot further if we have partners that help develop that research and play an important role in making our dollars stretch a lot further. So I think that leverage is a very good model to work by and make things happen. So we also have some funding through the Legislature for the water projects, and that helps with researching conservation throughout the state, seeing where sorghum fits with that. It's a water-friendly crop. It sips water and doesn't just drink water, and so that gives us a lot of information. You know, we really appreciate that funding, and it helps preserve our aquifers, helps with crop research and development. So our marketing program, we work with the U.S. Grains Council. We put some resources that direction. The U.S. Grains Council is an international marketing arm that we have, and also we have participate with the International Grains Council, which is based in Manhattan. So those work, you know, a lot on our trade processes that we try to get markets from. Some of those markets are Mexico, Japan, Peru, China, of course, and other African nations and that utilize a fair amount of sorghum. And like was stated before, trade missions have kind of came to a stalemate at the moment. I'm excited to get back with those programs. You know, those teams that come and visit farms, that's a very good opportunity to showcase what we have in Kansas, and let those buyers come see how our crops are grown. Domestically, ethanol, of course, comes to mind. It's clean burning fuel. Sorghum fits in that category. And sorghum also fits in the category of being a good feed grain for livestock. And we have pork producers in the southwest part of the state. We have demand from poultry producers. They all enjoy the benefits of sorghum. Along with that, the ethanol side, ethanol is a clean burning fuel. It's a lower carbon fuel. And, with carbon, there's markets in the future, and there's probably markets right now. I know we probably are a little slow participating in the carbon market because we don't want to move too fast, and then there's a better avenue for that. I have differing thoughts on carbon, but if we can take advantage of something that we already do or can do to benefit the environment, be it soil erosion or by planting cover crops or sequestering carbon somehow, and sorghum puts down a great root mass, and that's where you're going to store that carbon. So we feel that we'll have a great fit that way, and there's ongoing research on that all the time to see where we fit. So it's been a very meaningful year for sorghum in Kansas. Sorghum growers have elected several new farmer leaders to provide that fresh perspective and help move us forward. John Burning of Scott City, Brent Peterson of Johnson, Evan Lesser of Palco, all stepped up this year to represent the western third of the crop districts in Kansas, as well as they join fellow commissioners Nathan Larson of Riley, Mike Rosebook of Beverly, Max Jaden of Clearwater, Clark Bibb of Coldwater, and Kevin Harris of Abilene. So as you see, it's diverse parts of the state are all represented, and it's a great board, great team to work with and to leverage our assets, to be stewards of the funds that we have, to make sure we have a profitable, sustainable sorghum business going forward. So included in your packets also the annual report, our audit, other informational materials, and we look forward to your questions. As long as we don't have a hot mic, we'll be good. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Keith Miller from the Kansas Soybean Commission. Keith, welcome to the committee.
Thank you, Chairman Kushner and members of the Senate Agricultural Committee. I am Keith Miller. I'm from Great Bend, Kansas. I farm and ranch out there, and I represent the 5th District on the Kansas Soybean Commission. The commission manages the soybean checkoff dollars and try and promote research and promotional activities. All the farmers in the U.S. participate in the soybean and contributing 0.5% of the price of soybeans at the first point of sale. Half of the checkoff dollars goes to the national organization, and the other half stay here in Kansas. The Soybean Checkoff Board is where that half on a national level goes, and there are 78 farmers and 30 soybean producing states involved in that board. KSC is comprised of 7 elected soybean commissioners and 2 at large. We are processed by the Kansas Department of Agriculture. And we all volunteer our time and talents to take these positions. In fiscal year 2021, we collected almost $6 million from the 2020 crop. About 4.1 of that was spent on various programs that we support. Given those production numbers, we as a commission are tasked to find and strengthen markets for the U.S. soybeans. The enclosed marketing plan is fiscal year priorities that we believe will help produce a boost to the profitability of the Kansas soybean producer. We leverage our resources so that the work being done by the organization we belong to included in the marketing plan. We strive to create progressive Kansas farmers with every investment made from the checkoff dollars. International development is a priority for the Kansas Soybean Commission. In September, we celebrated 40 years of working with Henan Province in China. Since that celebration, that group purchased 500 metric tons of Kansas soybeans, and it was done by DeLong Grain Company in Edgerton. So it does pay to work with those foreign groups. We have valuable partners that help us with the marketing plans, like the U.S. Soybean Export Council, the United States Meat Export Federation, and the USA Poultry Association, which helps us with our marketing plans. The production research supported by KSC focuses on genetics, diseases, pests, soil health, and management practices. Most of the agronomic research is held by Kansas State University for us. Ongoing research evaluates planting windows, study and migration of root and seedling diseases, and development of new germplasms that will help us with our disease problems. Pittsburgh State's been doing quite a bit of research for us, and they've been working on the polymers. They have come up with some new products that you will start seeing in the near future and look very exciting to us. Last week, we attended a National Biodiesel meeting. The things that's happening in the biodiesel arena are extremely lucrative for us in the soybean industry. States like California don't want to use any diesel fuel. They want to use all renewable fuels like biodiesel. And on the Northeast, now they're using biodiesel to heat their homes because they want cleaner products to be used. And so we have a lot of opportunity in the biodiesel market. Agriculture animal is directly correlated to the soybean meal demand. 97% of the soybean meal that is consumed here in the United States, it goes through the animal industry. And here in Kansas, pork is the main one, but we also are getting an increased amount of numbers going through the chicken industry, and the pet food industry is getting to be a huge market for us. Education efforts have been going on. We reached 20,000 students directly this last year, and we continue to try and teach them what American agriculture is all about. The Kansas Soybean Commission provides farmers with relevant, valuable news through our radio, TV programs. We participate on the Kansas Ag Report, the American Heartland. We furnish some of those programs, and market-to-market air on RFD TV. So keep an eye. The Soybean Notes newsletter is inserted in the High Plains Journal and Kansas Farmer Magazine 3 times a year, and provides print form for our Kansas farmers. The 2021 yield contest wrapped up just a couple weeks ago. Had a top yield in the state of Kansas for soybeans at 111.52 bushels. and that was submitted by McPherson County farmer Chad Penner. We provide a small cash incentive to get people to do this so that we can try and keep finding new ways of producing better, high-quality crops throughout the nation. It's difficult to adequately cover every single issue that we have done this year, and specifics are in the stuff that we have provided you. Our administrative budget, which includes the collections, audits, elections, and other commission expenses. An outside accredited auditing firm has audited all of our books, and everything come back clean. If you should have copies of that. I thank you for hearing this report and from the Kansas Soybean Commission, and on behalf of the 16,000 farmers that raise soybeans here in the U.S., thank you, or in the state of Kansas, not the U.S., but the state of Kansas, we thank you for your support.
Thank you, Keith. Appreciate those remarks. Our final report is from the Wheat Commission. Brian Lynn, and he'll be by WebEx. So, Brian, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Chairman Kirshen?
Yeah, you're coming in good. So we'll turn it over to you. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Chairman Kirshen and members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an annual report from the Kansas Wheat Commission. My name is Brian Lennon, and I'm a past chairman of the Kansas Wheat Commission. I farm in northwest Kansas near the Goodland area and also in eastern Colorado. The Kansas Wheat Commission was established by the Kansas Legislature in 1957 to represent the state's wheat producers in the areas of research, domestic marketing, international marketing, education, and communication. Our commission is funded by the wheat assessment, which collects 2 cents per bushel of wheat at the first point of sale. The Kansas farmers who grow wheat are our stakeholders, and our 9-member commission represents all the farmers in the state. In addition to copies of this testimony, we have presented you with a copy of our 2021 annual report. Our fiscal year 2021 annual audit process is in process and will be approved by our board in March. And you'll find our unaudited financial report in our annual report for fiscal year 2021. Winter wheat production for this past year was 364 million bushels. That was up 29% from the previous year's crop. The area for grain at 7 million harvested acres was up 12% from the previous year, following the lowest planted acres in a century, in 100 years. Our average Kansas wheat yields have increased 10 bushels per acre, which is a 27% increase over the past 10 years. We've gone from an average of 37 bushels per acre to 47 bushels per acre on average. Each year, Kansas farmers export roughly half of the Kansas wheat crop, and that makes export promotion through the U.S. Wheat Associates very important. U.S. Wheat is an organization of 17 state wheat commissions that leverages farmer and federal foreign market development dollars to promote wheat exports. Overall, wheat exports were down 5% this marketing year, which runs from June 1 to May 31. Hard red winter wheat exports were down 14% from last year at 320 million bushels this year. Top customers included Mexico at number 1, China was 2nd, Nigeria was 3rd, and Japan was 4th. China, who purchased 45 million bushels, came into the market primarily due to the U.S.-China Phase 1 agreement that was signed in 2020. The Latin American region of Mexico, Central America, and South America imports nearly 1 billion bushels of wheat annually, with 281 million bushels coming from the United States this year, and that was a decrease of 15%, mainly due to strong U.S. wheat prices and increased competition in the South American market. Because of the importance of these exports, trade issues have been on the forefront of our efforts over the past year. We believe it's in the best interest of Kansas wheat farmers to renegotiate trade agreements and maintain relationships with our international customers. Kansans serve in the trade policy leadership positions with U.S. Wheat Associates and the National Association of Wheat Growers. I am currently chairman of the Joint International Trade Policy Committee and a former Kansas Wheat Commission staffer, and K-State graduate Dalton Henry is the vice president of trade policy with U.S. Wheat. In addition to international marketing efforts, nutrition education also continues to be an important focus for Kansas Wheat. Our Kansas Wheat Innovation Center is equipped with a test kitchen, and we have a full-time nutrition educator on staff. We're one of the few state wheat commissions to actually have a nutrition educator on our staff. And we believe these assets are vital as we continue to battle fad diets such as the low carb and gluten-free trends pervading the whole world. The Kansas Wheat Commission belongs to two national consumer education organizations, the Wheat Foods Council and the Home Baking Association, both of which have remained vigilant on these diet topics. And they've been instrumental in disseminating accurate nutrition information regarding our wheat and wheat foods. For National Ag Day, we worked with the 4 other commodity groups represented here today, as well as livestock groups, Kansas Farm Bureau and the Kansas Department of Agriculture, through the Kansas Farm Food Connection to take our ag message to consumers. 250 farm food crates were distributed to consumers in Kansas, and these crates contain promotional items from all our groups, activity books, a video message, and a farm family video about making pizza. Kansas Wheat secured bags of flour from Stafford County flour mills and donated bowl scrapers so each family could make their own pizza crust. The Kansas Wheat Commission continues to be a top supporter of the Kansas Foundation for Agriculture in the classroom, and they share our ag message with school-aged children. Their office is located in our Kansas Wheat Innovation Center right there in Manhattan. All of our efforts to improve the productivity and profitability of Kansas wheat farmers continue to center around research. We're currently in our 10th year in the Kansas Wheat Innovation Center, which is located just north of Bill Snyder Family Stadium on ground owned by K-State, just off Kimball Avenue in Manhattan. This center, paid for by farmers through the wheat assessment, is designed from the ground up to be the nation's home for wheat-based collaboration and innovation, including cutting-edge research and wheat variety development. We have 37,000 square feet of laboratory and greenhouse space, a dozen full-time and part-time plant scientists who work to create wheat doubled haploids, which can speed up the time it takes to create new wheat varieties from 12 years down to about 6 years. This Kansas Wheat Innovation Center represents the single largest investment by wheat producers in the nation. The Kansas Wheat Commission has invested more than $1.3 million, or more than 20% of our budget, in research proposals through the university. Included in these research proposals is funding toward K-State's wheat breeding programs in Manhattan and Hayes. Other Kansas wheat-funded research projects are leading the way toward identifying genes that improve resistance to viruses, engineering resistance to pests, and phenotyping wild wheat ancestors for drought, disease resistance, and other traits. It's currently estimated that this year's winter wheat seeded area is 7.5 million acres, which is up from last year's seeded area of 7.3 million acres. And we're hopeful that Mother Nature will help us grow a bountiful crop this year. We certainly need moisture across the state, and I'm happy to report that we had about 2 inches of snow on the ground when I got up this morning, and it's still snowing lightly out here in western Kansas. So that's really a godsend for us. This concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions the committee has.
All right, thank you, Ryan, very much. So appreciate that. Committee, that concludes the reporting part of the program, but we do have time for some questions of our guests if you have some, so we'll take a few minutes to address that. I can start it off. I want to ask Mr. Kent Moore of the corn growers. You said that it was one of the biggest bushel crop we've had in years. Was the acreage up, or how did we stand on the total acreage on that?
Acreage was actually a little bit down in 2021. So I think part of, at least from the standpoint of my farm, and I think a lot of the farms in the state, for whatever reason, in 2021, I saw, and most farmers saw, a lot less disease pressure than we've seen the last few years. I don't know that I have an answer as to why, but on our own farm, our plant health's just stayed fantastic throughout the growing season, and we found that out when we put the combine through the field. We had a phenomenal crop on a few less acres.
All right. Thank you very much. Committee, anybody else? Senator Fagg, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ken, while you was up, I was wondering, do you have any kind of estimate percentage on the harvest that goes to ethanol?
About a third.
A third? Okay.
Yep, about a third. And I think one of the things that is unique about that and has really been a blessing to the state of Kansas is just how that's intermeshed with the livestock industry. We grind that corn and make that ethanol, and then the DDGs go out and have a great deal of value to the livestock feeder. And so to me, it's just been a win, 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 and win for agriculture in the state of Kansas to incorporate ethanol into the industry. And I think there's a bright future for it. I mean, like I said in my testimony, we hear an awful lot about EVs, electric vehicles. In my own perception of that is those goals are out there, but there's going to definitely be a place for clean burning fuels that can be produced through, whether it's through corn or sorghum or whatever, through ethanol for a number of years into the future.
Anybody else? Question? Senator Fagg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Looking through this, I noticed on some of the audit results that talked about FDIC insurance. And one is a little bit short, and it looks like to me that's been covered. The comment is that I wanted to say that pledging is important when you get over that FDIC. Thank you. I didn't want that on record. So this is about FDIC coverage, and this is for everybody. And pledging is important, and I would encourage you to understand that that's something you look at and understand what is being pledged and understand the quality of that. So just as everybody.
If I might just comment, sir, Jesse McCurry, Executive Director, Kansas Sorghum. Never a fun spot to see that in an audit. What took place is we wanted a better relationship with a more local bank. It was an oversight. The issue has been fixed, and we're now totally secured. Thank you.
That's my banking background, and I'm telling you, I've been around when that come into play, and it's important to have it there. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. That concludes our commodities report. I did want to mention that this year I got some interest from the cotton growers about possibly being able to come. And I said, you're more than welcome to participate, and we'll try to find a time. You may not be able to have 5 commodities at one time, but maybe over 2 days or something like that. So it'd be interesting to see that. We got to have the most cotton acres in the history last year ever been planted, so it's quite a deal. And then the big holding area in Clearwater, 475,000 square feet of big cotton bales in there. So it was really exciting to see that. So anyway, that concludes our program for today. Thank our guests for their presentations and committee for being here. And we'll remind you tomorrow we will be having a hearing on Senate Bill 358. That's the Hayes Water Bill plant report. So we will be having a hearing tomorrow. So we are adjourned. Thank you.